Hello guys, welcome back to SWS Boxing, and today delighted to get on the former Welsh middleweight champion Gerome Warburton. He's currently 15 wins with 2 defeats with 2 draws, 2 wins by knockout, and he's fighting on the 30th of August in the Middleton Arena in Middleton against Jordan Grannum over 6 rounds. And yes, good to get you on, Jerome. How are you doing today?
Yeah, no, I'm good, thank you, mate. Really good, thank you.
Good, good. And yeah, just briefly before we get into your upcoming fight, just sort of tell us yeah, how you sort of first got into the sport of boxing and what age you sort of yeah, started.
So I started boxing when I was 14. I started off because my friends were going, and basically they stopped going, and I really like boxing. So I just carried on going. And then when I was 16, because like when I was started when I was 14, there was a session after the 6 or 7 class, and it was basically the amateurs. And you'd see all the lads sat on the stairs, and when you see someone eyes like something kind of moving, you're like, oh, I want to be like them. And then I remember asking the coach if I could be like them boys, and he said you have to keep coming. So I stayed there for 2 years. Then eventually he was like, oh, you can come to the amateurs. And then obviously then when I got into the amateurs, then I started boxing properly.
And what age did you have your first amateur fight?
16.
16. So 2 years after you started.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But obviously, I had to. Yeah, you have to earn your way into the amateurs. You have to prove yourself.
Yeah, 100% you do. And then you had your pro debut was back in 2019 February against another debutant as well, and it couldn't have started much better with a second round knockout.
Yeah, yeah. So it was at the time when I was with Chris Saniger, one of my previous managers, and basically, I think to be honest, it was more of a test to see whether I was ready, whether I was up for the task ahead. The pro game's it's not a part of a boxing career that you need to take lightly. And I think it was a first test. It was a good test. Obviously fighting in the famous York Hall, 4 rounds. Yeah, against someone on your debut. It's not mostly heard of unless you go in, on the road as a journeyman. But no, it was a good test, and obviously, yeah, I got a second round stoppage. Yeah, and it kind of put me in good stead for my career.
Yeah, 100%. And then 3 or 4 fights after you went over to Spain and you got a draw.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. So that was a draw. It was a learning curve fight. I think still then I was probably still boxing amateur style, and then I think after that fight I kind of thought you can't just run around the ring. I mean I've truthfully thought I won. The aim of the game of boxing is hit and don't get hit, and that's what I did. I do think that it was a bad decision, but it's one of them things, I suppose, that it wasn't a loss, so you've got to come back from it bigger and better. And I did. I think I ended up having, I think, 2 or 3 more fights back home, and then I think I went back. I was to Spain.
What is that when you fought Hon Yardes Orangon in
Y-
Bilbao?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
John
because
Jago
you
Robocon.
had 2 wins before then. You fought Daryl Sharp and Craig Sumner.
Yeah, so I remember I'd had them fights, and then I got called up to help Jack Cullen spar for one of his upcoming fights. And I remember getting a call from a manager, Kieran Farrell, and he basically said, "You got 2 weeks. You can take the fight or not." It was a 6 round fight, and because I'd already been training, I took the fight on 2 weeks' notice. The fight again, it was another learning curve. Both of us were 8-0. It was my biggest step up to the date, and yeah, I thought I kind of warmed into the fight. I thought the referee was a lot more on his side, kind of doing everything that he was doing, moaning and things. And then in the fifth round, I got a point taken off, and that changed the fight completely. I think he knew that he'd won. Yeah, but again, that was another massive learning curve fight. and then obviously from there I went on to win a
Welsh
world title.
champion. Yeah,
Yeah.
against Morgan Jones. That was in Swansea, May 2022. When you wasn't he the champion at the time, or wasn't it vacant?
I think it was vacant. I think because he boxed Jake Anthony. No, I think that was that super middle. I think that he won that title, and then yeah, he dropped down at middleweight because it was vacant. I think.
Yeah, but talk about that night where you became the Welsh champion.
Oh, it was amazing. Obviously that was one of the career highlights as a pro boxer. I think um, people overlooked me, and I think that kind of got people's eyes open. People talking and things like that because obviously Morgan Jones had been on TV. He'd been in with some good fighters. He wasn't someone to be taken lightly, and I think I just put it all on the line on the night, and shown that the better man, not the better man, but the most hardworking man deserves to win.
Yeah, and you were the rightful winner, and I think I agreed with the judges. I think the ref scored at 97, 94 or 97,
Yeah,
93.
97, 94, I think it was. Yeah,
Yeah, so one round was even then, I think.
yeah, yeah.
But do you feel like that was fair enough, that scorecard? But when the final bell rung, did you know that you done enough?
To be honest, because that was my first 10 round fight, it was kind of it's a big opportunity, it's a big moment. You know, I'd got jumped from 6 rounds to 10, and I think you never really know, especially even though we were both Welsh, but boxing away from home, you never know what a close decision could be. Um, so yeah, I think it was one of them fights as well where, like I always say, I never won a Welsh title. So for me to win a Welsh title as a professional boxer and win a title, was obviously that's something that everyone wishes they can do in their career. As a pro boxer or as an amateur boxer, is to win titles, and obviously, I went on to do that, and I think that really did open up some doors for me.
Yeah, it did. I mean, you had two tough 10 rounders back to back with Aaron Sutton and Ryan Kelly. I mean, going into both of those fights, you were probably the underdog going into both of them as well.
Yeah, obviously when I fought Aaron Sutton, again, you know, they that was a British title eliminator. I think that they again, yeah, overlooked me a little bit. But then also I think Chris Sanigan knew that it was going to be a fight for the fans. That it was going to be a good fight. And yeah, I think that again it was a tough fight, and I knew I'd get through it. And I did get through it. I thought the one of the referee scorecards was atrocious. Um, I didn't think that fight was scored very fair. I thought to give it me by 1 point, I think it was because one of the judges scored it like I think it was like 8 rounds and 9 rounds to him.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
that's and I think that does wreck boxing because it shows that the fight's a lot closer than what it actually was. Um, but yeah, obviously from there I went on to well, I granted myself an opportunity to either fight for a British title
yeah, because
eliminator.
you didn't need to fight Ryan Kelly. It's because was it because the British was at the time it was tied up with Brad Pauls and Nathan Heaney?
It was, yeah, and I also think at that time, I think the Commonwealth title was knocking around. It was vacant, I think, or I think someone had it, and I think that was the route that we was going down, was to basically win the silver Commonwealth title, and then obviously then try and then push on for the Commonwealth title or maybe the British. We just thought that if we had something to offer to the table, that when the British title fight, if we could try and get that fight, obviously it worked out that from winning the British title eliminator and obviously no one else being around at the time, because obviously Nathan Heaney had been beat. You had what's his name? You had Denzel Bentley that moved on. Um, well, he fought Brad Pauls. Nathan Heaney got beat by Brad Pauls. And there wasn't many people knocking around. Obviously, Ryan Kelly was at middleweight and he fought
River
that
Wilson
was
Bent.
no, yeah, that was for the silver, but he ended up fighting Kieran Conway for the Commonwealth title.
Yeah, he did.
That's
Yeah.
that's how Kieran got hold of the Commonwealth title. So that we was kind of looking down that avenue. Not obviously that fight again. I thought it was a close fight. Everyone said that I won, but a draw's a draw, and it would have been good to have got a rematch with Ryan Kelly. Obviously, he's dropped down a weight. Hopefully, we can still get that rematch on. But yeah, obviously, things worked out the way they did, and obviously, yeah, I did, then go on to obviously box for a British title and Commonwealth title.
Yeah, you did against Kieran Conway. That was in at the Copper Box this year. Unfortunately, wasn't meant to be for you on that night. You got stopped in the fourth round. Yeah, talk us through the fight.
I think when you get to a certain level in boxing, you got to be real and true to yourself. Obviously, going into the fight, I was in the best shape I could have been. I had the best camp with my coach, and I just think that you know I think size probably got the better of me. That fight wasn't a British title, Commonwealth title fight. I think it was more of, Kieran Conway is a world class fighter. You can't take that away from him. And I think it was more of maybe a world title eliminator type of fight. You got to be
Or
real.
sort of fringe European sort of type of fight.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's European borderline. World title eliminator at
Because he
least.
pushed Samo Williams, didn't he?
Yeah, and that's it. Amber Williams, I think he's fighting for a world title eliminator. Won't be surprised if Kieran Conway doesn't fight for a world title eliminator soon. Obviously, after he defends his title with George Liddard,
Did you?
which
Sorry to interrupt. Do you believe that he beats Liddard?
I do. I think his experience, and I think it's probably a step back for Kieran Conway. Obviously, for George Liddard, he's young, he's game. Um, I wish them both the best. Obviously, the better man will win on the night, but I think that Kieran Conway's past the British title level, and I think he proved that. Um, obviously he's not had some. Obviously his career probably hasn't planned out the way that he wanted it. Obviously after the tournament, you know, but obviously he's looking for the fight of Aaron McKenna, but I think obviously getting caught with the body shots. Yeah, it was one of them decisions, and I think that's why now I've made the decision that after this fight, I'm going to be dropping down to super welterweight.
Yeah.
So
Why
gonna
is that? Because you said that you were making middleweight comfortable, or do you
to
just feel like it's the right time to move down?
I think making middleweight too easy, comfortable, and I think whereas when you're going into a serious fight like that. Kieran Conway was a much bigger person, stronger, and I think that I would be able to take my size, my strength into that lower weight category, and I think that I'll be a lot bigger and stronger than some of them super welterweights. Um,
Especially
and
with
it's,
sorry to interrupt again. Especially with that British title as well, which I know is going to be a goal for you going forward. Yeah, that British title's tied up, isn't it, at the minute at Super Welter? I don't know what's happening with that.
um, I think is it one of the Fail brothers is fighting for an eliminator,
Oh yeah,
or
because I think it was Ben or Carl Fail won an eliminator, but it was meant to be fought for with Sam Gilly and Louis Green. That fell through. Then it was meant to be Gilly Ishmael Davis, but I think Ishmael Davis is fighting a Jarko in September.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be quite frankly honest, obviously I've not made the move yet down to super welterweight. there was a few talks with a few potential opponents for, obviously, get this job done, in 3 weeks, and then then look at, opportunities and things like that. But I'm not going to be messing around in that division. I'm going to get straight into the division. Look at a good opponent, and just really look to try and get the ball rolling. Try and pick up a title and try and just move into that British title contention again, and just maybe right my wrongs, and just just try and settle into the weight, of course, but yeah, definitely not take no steps back, and just try and move on, and push on with my career.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're fighting in, is it, yeah, 3 weeks? You're fighting Jordan Grannum?
Yeah, Jordan Grannum. So
And
I've boxed.
you've already fought him once. I think it was in a four-rounder. But now
Yeah,
you're fighting him in a six-rounder this time.
yeah, and that's just to get back in. You can't, when you've been in 10 round fights, you've been 12 round fight fit. You can't go back into 4 rounds and things like that. You've got to, 6 rounds is more than enough to get me back into the groove, get me back into feeling good, and yeah, just obviously 6 rounds. Jordan Grannum, he's not someone to be taken lightly. So camp's been good and things like that, and hopefully I can push on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, is it the show's a Black Flash promotion show? This one.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Black Bass Promotions, 30th of August in Middleton Arena.
Yeah, and have you got any tickets remaining for some people who want to come and show their support for you on that night?
Yeah. I've still got a few tickets left. Obviously, my support's been really good as of now. So yeah, I've still got a few tickets left, but they are going really quick.
That's good. So can they contact you on your Instagram and stuff like that to get a hold of the
Yeah,
tickets?
yeah. Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, anyone's free to pop me a DM, and I'll be able to either come and meet them to obviously show the gratitude, thanks, or post them in the post.
Yeah. Do you feel like this fight is a sort of fight for you to get the dice back rolling?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, the last fight, everyone wants to win a British title. Sometimes you get a bit of too much pressure on your back. Obviously, being trying to be the first North Walian boxers to win a British title. Some people have tried, but I don't owe it to anyone or anything like that. Obviously, I'm there to make North Wales proud, make my friends and family proud. And be a role model. And just set a standards out to the kids that are out there to show, that it can be done and things like that. But yeah, it'd just be good just to get back in there, get the ring rust off, and then get really, moving on with a career.
Yeah. And is that would you look to maybe but try and become a two weight division Welsh area champion, or are you not sort of looking uh backwards sort of thing?
If for whatever reason the opportunity came, and it was right, then obviously maybe it's something that we could look at. But I think right now it's obviously being at the British title level. I think that's where I proved, obviously taking a fight with Morgan Jones, taking a fight with Aaron Sutton, the fight with Ryan Kelly. It just proves that, obviously I've earned my rights to be where I am, and I don't think I should settle for anything less, than these good title fights.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, the last few things I'm gonna say is, have you got a message to the people who will be tuning in and coming to support you on August 30th against Jordan Grannum?
Yeah, obviously, he's without fans, without support, from friends and family, without sponsors, is you can't do it. You can't do the sport. So, a massive thank you to all my sponsors, all my friends, all my family, and everyone that's there to support me, and people that are putting their hands in their back pockets and obviously coming to watch me fight.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, before I let you go, as always, Jerome, I'll let you shout out whether that's your sponsors, anyone who's helping you on your journey at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. So thank you to my sponsor, Prestigious. Thank you to Terrace Colt. Thank you to NWC Caravans. Thank you to fight sponsors. Thank you to Jack Hope Nutrition. My fire advisory. Obviously my management. Let's Go Management. So yeah, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to them, and obviously anyone else that support me out there.
Yeah. And from me, Jerome, a big thank you for your time today. I really do appreciate your time. And yeah, good luck against Jordan Grannum.
Yeah, no, cheers, mate. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, mate. Bye. Good luck.
Cheers. Thanks, Paul.